Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. And we have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be Mulebot, a Terran bot with many builds, taking on the more advanced Dodo than previously. So we'll see if Dodo goes extinct in this one or not, as that's generally what happened to it in the past. However, it seems to have got some massive upgrades. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy these wacky bot games, make sure to go ahead, click that like button if you haven't already. If we can get, I don't know, let's pick a random number. It's 743 as I record this, so let's go for 743 likes or 43 likes, whatever works. And then yeah, subscribe if you haven't already, as this is the only channel on YouTube where you get daily bot videos. And leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of this bot action. Now, it does seem we've got a bit of an aggressive build coming out of Dodo here. It seems to have macroed more recently than not, however, so I haven't actually seen it go for like early roach aggression for a while, I don't think. But yeah, we'll see just how aggressive it gets, whether it macros behind this or not, or whether it's like full-on commitment, as yeah, Dodo has got that gas being mined. Once that roach warren's done, I imagine we'll see 3 roaches get fired up, although it has been using its larva on other things. So unlike a human roach ravager rush, where the human tries to be able to fire up like 3 roaches pretty much immediately, you save up your larva, Dodo is just waiting for that larva to pop out one at a time. Of course, in these bot games, all timings are different from what you'd expect with human matches, because there is, of course, that speed mining, as we see those little clicks on the ground, basically abusing worker acceleration, or using it, however you want to say it, in order to have a little bit of extra mineral income, which does make rushes and things kind of stronger. However, generally most bots do utilize speed mining, so it's kind of a necessity if you want to program your own StarCraft 2 bot that'll play on the bot ladder. You generally want to implement speed mining fairly quickly, because any strategy, whether it be a proxy or macro, will be stronger with that. Now, we do have the first roach showing up. It's a little odd, just one roach rolling on up towards the natural of Dodo. 2 Marines die already. Now, one of those roaches does burrow. The other one goes home, which is bizarre, because I feel like that roach could have taken that fight, so maybe Dodo's pooling up its units or something. It does just seem to be sending everything home. That roach unburrows, then reburrows right away. We'll see how far it makes it. Oh no, the Marines move forward, so this is the slowest travel by a roach ever. As it's like, okay, just gotta move a foot. So a very, very low threshold for damage taken for Dodo before it goes ahead and reburrows. Now, we do have a macro follow-up behind this from Dodo with a hatchery on the way. The concern for the Zerg bot, though, as this roach just has Marines now park on top of its head, which is a little rude, is that there is going to be battle cruisers on the way. And this is something Dodo is very untested against as far as what I've seen. It seems to play more general macro Zerg, maybe not having all those specific sort of responses programmed into it yet. So a BC's on the way, and Dodo could be about to have a very bad time. Presently, it's only got 2 queens, no spore crawlers yet. We may see spore crawlers get built once it sees the air unit. That's a fairly common thing for bot authors to do. There's, oh my gosh, this roach is just getting shot endlessly. An Overlord does get found by Mulebot, which is nice. So that could potentially be a good pickoff. Yeah, that Overlord just gonna get shot down by that 1 Marine, it seems. There's a few more crossing the map. And Dodo may be wishing that it was more aggressive there, because I didn't really see a reason why it couldn't have potentially killed Mulebot in this game. At the start of the game, it had like 3-4 roaches out, something like that. One, of course, took some damage, and then it just went into full-on retreat mode for some reason, which I'm not sure why that is. We do have a third command center on the way for Mulebot, so macroing with these BCs. Looks like we actually have a proxy starport. Hold on, pardon me, I did not note that the starport was actually a proxy, as that BC is going to get there much, much quicker for Mulebot, and now Dodo is in a world of trouble. It's got 3 queens out to try and push this BC away. It does have a third hatchery on the way. We do get 1 spore crawler, 2 spore crawlers being built, so there is a bit of a response to that. No creep spread between the main and the natural, so those queens are going to be quite slow to respond, and this BC is getting some nice damage done here, just killing these drones. The queens themselves may even die here. And this is looking very, very bleak here for Dodo, as we've got now 2 BCs on the way. I feel a bit silly that I didn't catch that there was a proxied starport. There's one in the main, but also one proxied. Mulebot, meanwhile, is double expanding behind this. It may get a cancel off on the third base. Now, Dodo did invest in a Hydralisk den, so there is potential for some anti-air to be made. However, it is firing up just a roach presently. It's also very supply blocked. 1 queen will try and be a hero and work away on this BC. Saving the third base is actually quite important, as we have a bit of an interesting interaction there. The BC's like, yeah, fight. No, don't fight. And looks like Dodo will try and build a spore at that third base. However, it does keep losing overlords that it's rallying out on the map. Mulebot's Marines have been out there shooting them down. We've now got another BC flying in. So this may just be the end of Dodo here. That spore crawler is only just getting started now, so that gets canceled. And that third base will indeed go down. No hydras being built. It's only building roaches and queens presently, which isn't good. This is just a rush that requires a very specific response from the opponent, and Dodo just doesn't have that. The opening really set it far behind as well. Who knows, if Dodo had just gone for a more honorable macro game, maybe it would have had more queens and already been producing hydras by the time the BC got out there. But in this case, it just set itself too far behind from that opening. And yeah, it's not looking too good, as I mean, Mulebot is just expanding all over the place, showing us that it's got a bit of a greedy follow-up to this, but that's the fun of playing with battle cruisers. I mean, Dodo, I think, yeah, is just going to be losing everything to these BCs. Now, the BCs aren't the most efficient in the world. Like, I'm not sure why they're going back. Okay, they're going to potentially kill this base and Overlord. But, yeah, they're still getting the job done. No Yamato cannon, notably. Dodo will not get up a third base. It is producing a few more hydras here, but it's going to need a miracle to potentially win this game. Just pooling the roaches at the natural, that one hydra gets deleted. That would be a very difficult welcome to the world when you spawn and there's a battle cruiser raining down on you. So that natural base is going to be breached. The spore crawler dies. Takes a lot more than 1 spore crawler to defend against battle cruisers, so I think it's safe to say that Mulebot will indeed take this one. This was a random replay that I just grabbed out of the Discord, and yeah, well done. Mulebot showing us it's got a lot of builds. It would be interesting to see how this does against other bots, but I think with just a more macro focus, then this would be a completely different game, because like if Dodo just opens up like 3 hatchery and then plays very greedy, then it would be absolutely fine. But that is not the case here. Well, it might be fine, because it probably would have had hydras out and that kind of thing. Anyway, before this game ends, I did want to actually just sort of zip back to that initial rush and sort of see, like, I wonder what triggered Dodo to go home, because in my opinion, it shouldn't have died to the BCs, because it could have just potentially won the game off the back of these roaches. So what do we got right now? 5 roaches versus 2 Marines. And then the roach is fighting. It kills a Marine. Still moving forward. And yeah, the next Marine dies. 2 roaches moving on in. And then all of a sudden, Dodo is like, no, I must go home. So I don't know what it saw here, to spur this retreat, because it really could have just kept on going. So definitely not ideal programming there. Like, it didn't see the starport. I guess it just gave up the attack as soon as it... Okay, now let's see. I bet they happen simultaneously. But if we take a little look here... Okay, just go back 2 seconds. That's okay, 4 seconds. That's actually good. So no expo queued up yet. It's got the money for an expo, but it's not starting that. And let's see here, still moving forward. Sees the marine. No hatchery queued up yet. A little further, runs right into that marine. Maybe this roach has like a retreat threshold or something. And that's what triggered when the roach maybe got injured a little bit. Yeah, the roach takes a little bit of damage. Still no hatchery. This is a very deep dive, but I like to try and see why things happen in bot games. So the roach gets down to 78 HP, which I'm guessing is like a retreat threshold or something, because then and burrow finishes up in that instant. And then it decides to burrow, and then it's just like, okay, time to go home, and the hatchery's instantly queued up. So it sort of happened at the same time. And I don't know. It's a chicken and egg scenario. Does it decide to retreat because it's time to build a hatchery, or does it build a hatchery because it's time to retreat? Who knows if it didn't get burrow. I'd very much like to see a rematch between these two, and maybe we'll make that happen. Let me know if you guys do want to see that down below. We are going to have a little micro battle after this one as well, for those of you that have stuck around for this longer thing. But let me know what you guys think in the comments of like this little analysis of like why a bot does, because it's when you have an eye for it, you can definitely see like what triggers something in a bot. I mean, they're all just logic, but that's an interesting one there. And yeah, I'll load us into that micro battle. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with our micro battle, and there is a lot of Zerg coming on in on that Protoss army. Banelings rolling after the Stalkers is quite good, ignoring the hallucinations, and there is a lot of Lings left still, so a very successful engagement from Quarkling, ignoring the hallucinated Archons. Well done. Now, we've got the same matchup, so maybe Oops would be better off trying to use force fields or something. However, it does use the Archons once again. Stalkers pulling back. The Banelings just rolling forward for a clump of the Stalkers. The Stalkers are splitting up. Of course, that makes them more vulnerable to Ling surrounds, although they've burned a lot of ground this time, which means they've got lots of shots off, and there's not that much Zerg left. So looks like we will have a draw as far as round one goes, 1-1. Hallucinated Archons not helping kill those last Lings very much, but yes, we've got a real micro battle going on here. As now we've got Archons and Zealots against Hydras and Lings. It says a lot of Zerg again. It's almost hard to see how many units that Quarkling has with those mass clicks at the start, but they do pause once that's actually finished. All the Lings are gone. Now, the Archons actually kind of, oh, they totally missed the plot for a moment there, as they do sort of just veer off. However, the Hydras of Quarkling going for a dive on the Archons is not the best strategy. It's 3 Hydras versus 1 Archons. I think the Hydras have got this one. I think maybe a little bit of missed firing time from Oops there on the Archons, so we'll see if we have a repeat trend and if the Protoss can pick up the second round. Archons moving forward, Zealots and Archons dispatching the Lings pretty quickly. Hydra's getting damage done, but now they are on the retreat. Zealots with a fresh charge move forward, and 3 Hydras to the south versus 1 Archon. Yeah, this is not looking good for those Hydras. I have no idea why these are retreating now, but they do eventually decide to go on in. I'm guessing it's something to do with the range of the units, because the Hydras could, in theory, kite those units endlessly, disregarding charge, so maybe there's something going on there. Anyway, we do have Immortal Stalkers Adepts taking on Roach Hydra Ravager. And the Protoss army is melting pretty quickly in this one. Only a handful of Stalkers left. There's a full HP Immortal, but even Immortals I don't think can take on this much Zerg, as it does seem like it prioritized targeting the Hydras, which, I mean, Hydras usually are a good thing to take down as they're nice and squishy, but maybe it would have been better to deal with the Roaches first. It's difficult to say in this one. We'll try and pay nice and close attention. In fact, I may actually just put this one into, or put it down a speed, as I kind of want to see just like how this happens a little bit slower. That's how quick these bot micro battles are. It's difficult to say. We do have Kurosaba going down. Oops immediately splits on out of there. Adepts are doing a good job getting on top of the Hydras, so they definitely should target the Hydras down. And it's a nice retreat from Oops once again, and there is 2 Immortals alive this time. That seems to be the big difference with this one. 1 Immortal staying alive longer in this round. Still, the second Immortal is about to go down. Stalkers now against Ravagers. The Stalkers should be able to take this one. Blink is incredible, and it looks like the Stalkers will. So what a close micro battle we have here today, as it's now 3-3 between these two. We've got Infestors and DTs in the mix of this one. Good Fungal catching that Protoss army right at the start. Stalkers are able to blink as that Fungal wears off, but everything else is dead. The DT is pretty much useless, the Prism useless. Stalkers caught in the corner, no choice but to fight. They do have some friends to the south, but again, these Stalkers are slacking. Oops does have a problem with its units, sometimes just not being quite sure of where to go. So that's, yeah, not great. And oh my gosh, I didn't realize there was all these roaches over to the left. Pardon me, as that is a domination by Quarkling in that round. So we'll see if this one goes any better for Oops now, as a Fungal starts the fight again. A second Fungal, the Infestors, it doesn't matter if they're picked off now. And I do get the dynamic for this round in that it's like, oh, if the Protoss can pick off the Overseers and the Infestors, then maybe the Stalkers can win the day. But that is just not how it works out with those Fungals. So who knows, maybe that round should be changed up a little bit. Anyway, we do have Stalkers doing a great job kiting back against Quarkling. Once again, there is some roaches. Oh, I get it. They've been retreating, taking damage and retreating as the Observers are dead, which actually means that Quarkling can just win this one out in the long run against Oops, and that is very unfortunate, but that's what happens when the Observers get fungaled right out the gate. The Infestor may even get up enough energy for another Fungal in this. And yeah, the Stalkers are just useless. The Roaches are a little unsure of what to do. I guess they're trying to group up, and that's actually very wise. Stalkers regenerating some HP, and now they're blinking back, but there is another Fungal, so say goodbye to those Stalkers. Quarkling will pull this one out, I think. So well done by the Zerg bot. Again, that's a bit of a tough round for the Protoss, I feel. Great use of the Burrow from Quarkling to keep those roaches alive. Now, the timer is still going on. There's plenty of time left on the clock, 50 seconds, so Oops will indeed lose this round. Now, can it play for the draw? There's now High Templar versus Infestor. Can the High Templar get the feedbacks that they desperately need as double Fungal hits that grouped up Protoss army? That is not good. Double Fungal once again. There's going to be another 2. We do see one Psystorm going down. However, the Lings kind of just ran through it. It does help zone out some of the Zerg units, but again, Oops just seems to not quite pull its army together. There's a lot of inactive units. I'm wondering if that, I believe Oops does use the Sharky framework, which may just have behavior sort of programmed in for how units should interact with each other or something like that, but maybe that, like, it needs to be tuned down a bit for the micro battles or something like that, because units should always be attacking pretty much in micro battles. Now, we do have a few Stalkers trying to take on, what is that, a Roach, 2 Ravagers, and a Hydra. Unfortunately, they aren't kiting as well as they could be. The Stalker trying to be a hero, but it shall not be. And it looks like that Quarkling secures this one. The Fungal rounds really have been good for the Zerg here, and we're going to see it again. This is completely preventable from the Protoss, but again, it's something that would require a lot of specific programming to counter. Feedback's going down on Infestors that don't have that much energy to actually be feedbacked. Now, Oops is doing a better job pulling back this time. It's so funny how these rounds work out, but 2 Immortals in the corner there. There's still plenty of Stalkers left. There may even be another Psystorm at some point. 10 energy to go, but it looks like Oops will actually take this round, so narrowly losing 6-4 against its opponent. These units are retreating again instead of fighting, but it should be a victory here, as Oops, you gotta go clean everything up, and it eventually will. GG. Thanks for watching.